Hello, everybody, and welcome to Filmbil Ford on Monday night. This week it is week 2 from the Portland International Raceway here in downtown Portland, obviously. Circuit is new to iRacing, brand new a couple of seasons ago, not hugely popular all the time, but we do have a grid of 16 cars on the grid and some high iRating in terms of the general soft being 2.8, which is not too bad considering it's a circuit that isn't used a hell of a lot, as the drivers are out on qualifying at this moment in time. Just having a look here at who's still to set a time. Graham Roy Hunt at the moment. Maybe we could go on board with Graham for a lap of the circuit to see exactly what we are aiming at here today. There's Graham Roy Hunt on board with him at the moment as he makes his way slightly off the circuit at the twisty part of the circuit. There's a difference between the two. As we'll cut away from that, there's the front straightaway, famous for that Mark Blundell victory in Champ Cars all them years ago, back in about 1997. But we are here ready to race this weekend, tonight. We've also got Ricky Bryant, who might be still out on the circuit. Yes, he is. So be on board with him as he comes round to complete his qualifying efforts. This is towards the end of a lap when you get a nice long, I can't say straight, it's a long curve. It's like Curva Grande at Monza. It just keeps going on and on and on until you get to the braking area, and then it suddenly turns left. Looking for a braking point here, he does, and he makes it round into a very quick chicane, which leads onto the final corner and into the race we will be. So let's have a look at the grid once it allows me to. Yes, here we go. This is a grid for Portland's week 2 of the Formula Ford Soft. Yono Marku is on pole position ahead of Ussi Turka. Ed Buchanan's back as well. He's starting third on the grid alongside Frederick Surley, who wanted to take the fight last week, but a mistake for him meant that he could only just get a podium. Nido Braun up in 5th place ahead of Alexander Ister. Erwin Paul is in 7th place ahead of Peter Maddox. Greg Boyce is in 9th ahead of John Christoph Gruerin. He's in 10th. And then the final 3 rows do have Jason Steinhurst, Ricky Bryant, Callum Coughlin, Cameron Baker, Dino Villanova, and Graham Rory Hunt. You'll see them popping up on your screen right now. Graham Rory Hunt, the only driver not to set a lap time here tonight. But we are all on the grid now, being ready for the start. On board with Ricky Bryant from the back, and it's a great start by him, to be fair, and moves his way up the field. But we will concentrate on the front, where it's side by side between Marku and Turka. Oh, it's Edward Buchanan up into 2nd place. My apologies there. It's a great start by Jarno Marku. Are we all going to get through turn number 1? Yes, we are. Something the Champ Cars can never do, or Indy Cars these days. But Dino Villanova has dropped to the back of the field, but not massively so. It's dropped about a second off the field, but I think that's just taking it easy into the opening few corners. Already about halfway round the lap now onto that back straight, which we saw just at the end of qualifying. It's Marku leads from Ed Buchanan and Ossie Turka. Frederick Surley and Alexander Ister rounding out your top 5 on this opening lap. Coming around the long back straight. Anybody eyeing up a move? There might be a move here by Frederick Surley up into the final part of the complex near the end of this lap. He's not going to quite make it through. He's a little bit further back than I anticipated. But as they come across the stripe for the first time, it is Jarno Marku, Ed Buchanan, Turka, Surley, Ister. That's your top 5. Ahead of Braun, Boyce, Paul, Maddox and Steinhurst rounding out your top 10. Biggest mover actually is Greg Boyce up into 7th place with 2 positions gained. Graham Roy Hunt at the back of the field is up 2 positions as well, and he will be up 3 positions now as he's made a move down into that final corner. So there is Graham Roy Hunt. We expect to see him back at the front. He had to miss last week's race due to maybe not the brightest idea of using your computer as a coffee table. Wasn't the brightest idea in the world, but he's back and the computer is running. As we then again look at this fight for third place, Frederick Surley is there. Edward Buchanan has actually closed the gap to the leader right now and is starting to have a sniff of a slipstream from him, and will be very well placed for this final corner. If he can get a good run out of here, he can get a run onto the straight, get that slipstream down into turn number 1. Let's see how he gets on with that as they come down the start finish straight for the second time. Bit of a defensive move there by Marku to try and put Buchanan off making an overtake. It's actually fast as that to Frederick Surley on that last lap, who's done a purple first sector there and moved his way up onto the back. Well, not quite onto the back of Urca, and actually has Ista for company. There's 2 Filmbil liveried cars. Obviously Filmbil, the sponsor of this stream, and will be supporting the stream through the whole of this first season of 2026. We've had a crash for John Christoph Green at the back, but he is rejoined. Ricky Bryant hasn't, so let's see what happened to him as he comes down into turn number 1. Looks like he might be blinking a bit, but he's just gone straight on, spun out. And is there any damage to his car? No, he's got hooked on the curb, and there's no way of getting that back off that curb, and the only way is to tow to pits. So unfortunate for Bryant there. That is just what you don't want to happen. So Marku now leads by 7 tenths of a second over, by 2 tenths of a second over Edward Buchanan. Messi Turca is in 3rd place. Great start from him to put himself in this position, but now he's having to close that gap to the leaders, which do have the slipstream. There's a meatball for Graham Rory Hunt. I'm pretty sure he hasn't put a coffee on his computer this time, but he does head to pit lane to get that sorted out. As these top few still battle on. It's one of them battle of wits at the moment. Everybody's just keeping their nose clean, moving that top 4-5 away from Nido Braun, who is there just leading by himself at the moment. He's not even leading in a pack. He's 2 seconds clear of countryman Erwin Paul, who has Greg Boyce right behind him. Can Greg Boyce have a look at the move down into the final sector? He's very close this time, and will he have a look, or will he try and leave it? No, he's going for it into the final part of the track, and he manages to make it through and up into 7th place. And Greg Boyce, one of the biggest movers in this race so far. Back to the front, that gap is closing. A fastest lap of the race by Turca. We've got a group of 3 now and a group of 2 at the front here. Now, will they be able to work together, or will at some point Marku and Buchanan start fighting, and that will bring the other 2 of Surley and Ista into effect? I haven't had much chance to say much about them, but Filmbil are there for all your vehicle film needs over in Norway. They hire out cars for films and TV productions, and can also do a bit of stunt driving, which hopefully for Frederick Surley, we will not be doing any stunt driving in the middle of this race. So if you want to know more, head over to their website and see whether they can help you, as Ista is closing in there very quickly actually on the car behind. On the car in front of Surley. Greg Boyce has just been repassed by Erwin Paul. At the same point, he took the position. So Boyce and Paul swapping positions, but losing time to the cars in front. back to the lead group from the helicopter cam down into turn number 1. They come. They are now closing up all together, which will happen as the fastest lap of the race keeps being pumped in by Aussie Turk of the Finn, trying to close in on Ed Buchanan, the Canadian, and his fellow Finn, Jarno Markku. Ricky Bryant has rejoined the circuit and Graham Rory Hunt from their pit stops, but obviously they're way back from the position due to their issues. You can actually probably see where Graham Rory went off. He went off and came back on track twice, so this is what happened. In the final corner, gets a big tamp slacker on. Does he make the wall? Yes, he does, and that's why he heads straight to pit lane after the accident. We now have this lead 3 who are close enough to battle. They pulled themselves away from the Norwegian pair behind, and it's Markku, Buchanan, Turka, us. As quickly as I could say them, they come across the stripe. Is there going to be there's a slight look by Buchanan there, but doesn't quite decide to make the move. Go on board with Turka through this first section of the track and see what happens. Graham Rory Hunt has had another meatball, so he's back in the pits and fallen down to last place. But Aussie Turka looking for that little bit of weakness in the 2 cars in front. Vince and Edward Buchanan, to be fair, are newish to the soft, not newish to the Formula Ford group, shall we say, so in the community. So these 3 very talented drivers in their own right having a fight, as Alex Sister has made his way past Frederick Surley and now pulling away from him slightly. Just trying to see if that has come up. Was it an incident or no? It was just a clean pass. Maybe Ista 40's a little bit quicker at this stage and wants to try and get that position. Try and tow up to this group when they start fighting, which could be any time now at this moment in time. The drivers are really close together. There we go from a helicam. Is this going to be a move by Buchanan? It's going to be... Oh, not quite yet. Sitting there, biding his time. It seems very much more a pass or be pass situation, but nobody's making that move at this time because they know there's still half a race to go, and anything can happen here at Portland. It's a shortish lap, only 1 minute 17 each, so we'll see how that goes. Graham Rory Hunt now in the chat, so I'm presuming he has parked for the night. Some news, some voice happening in the background. I think it was Greg Boyce saying he needs to try and catch Nido Braun, but Nido is well ahead there in 6th place at this moment in time. Jason Steinhurst has had an off. Let's see what happened to the driver of the 15 car. Oh, and it's just the other car coming across. Has he managed to hold it? Yes, he has. Well held there, Jason Steinhurst, on something that wasn't really his fault. He managed to hold that very, very well. As we come down to the first corner yet again, and still no move. Just a little look in the mirrors from Ed Buchanan, trying to make that mistake, or get that mistake out of the Jarno Markku. It is Markku who still leads. Top 4 all over 5.3k. If we went for a top 5, all over 5k. So there is a little bit of a split actually in the I ratings, which means that the top 5 are over 5k, and then the group behind are 3.5k or less on I rating. So it does explain these gaps opening up, but looking further back, Nido Braun is hanging on to the back of the... I will have a look at this, yeah. Nido Braun does have the 2 Norwegians in sight when you're not on a curve straight. round onto the final corner, and you can just see in the distance the two Norwegian cars. There we go, just flash through your picture of that time. So they are the ones to watch in terms of whether Nido Braun can catch us. There is a fight behind with Erwin Paul and Greg Boyce still going at it side by side. They come down into the turn number 1 for the 10th time, and it will be the German who leads against the American this time round. We may have missed it. Ossie Turger is past. This is why the gap's opened up at the front for Marku. He's past Edward Buchanan. We'll have a look at the onboard now. Actually, Buchanan just makes a huge mistake in the final corner, and around the outs in the first corner, and into the second corner, the run comes for Ossie, and he goes up the inside. Buchanan backing out of that one quite sensibly, so he's not hanging around the outside of that battle. But now these two need to work together. They need to catch the cars in front. Well, I say the cars, but it's Jarno Marku who comes across the line. He's now gone 8/10 of the second lead over the battle behind Edward Buchanan, trying to take the slipstream from the position from second place. He wants that second place back. He wants to be the one in the slipstream position when he gets to the final lap. Frederick Surley again has made his way past Alex Ister. The two fighting among themselves through this long back corner. Surley leading Ister. Obviously, between the two of them, they will probably be working with between themselves to make sure they're not losing out too much, but their pace is just not quite there with the front three, and that's why they have drifted off the back. Good lap by Ossie Turger coming in. Vin is slowly closing in on Jarno Marku. He's took a couple of attempts on this lap, and the gap's down to half a second as they come round the final corner, expecting him to get the corners right, of course. Yes, he does. Onto the pit straight for the 11th time. Gap is half a second. Edward Buchanan 7/10 back from that, and Marku's looking to defend and stop that slipstream early on here. Not the way I would have expected straight off. Marku with the fastest lap of the race, but he's still got a 6/10 lead. He doesn't need to start defending already. And that was quite an extreme defence to take right over to the pit wall to keep the slipstream away from his countrymen. Looking a bit further back, there is a few battles back here. Greg Boyce and Erwin Paul still fighting over 7th place, and it doesn't look like it'll get any better for those two drivers, but certainly a very good battle between the two. Clean, precise, and Boyce will be wanting to get ahead of, stay ahead of Erwin Paul, because it's almost like a home event here in Portland. Obviously not quite as close as it may be, but with the amount of American tracks there is at the moment, there is real good chance of this being a home race for Greg Boyce. We just come across the line. The gap is down to 2/10 of a second. A really poor lap there by Marku. It was all gained in the final sector, 2/10 of a second in the final sector. That's put Mark Turker on the back of his Finnish counterpart, and now will these two work together and just stay ahead of Buchanan till the final lap, or will they start fighting and bring Buchanan, the Canadian, back into the fight? I'm just trying to keep control of the battle. Marku not wanting to give too much away at this stage, a little bit off the apex there, going onto the back straight. Will this give Turker a chance through the long Curva Grande replica, very close up against the wall? And it does look like Turker might have a chance here. He's having a look, but I don't think this is where he'll want to make the move. He'll want to make the move down into turn number 1. where you've got the best chance with the heavy braking zone. Ed Buchanan still hanging on there, just in the background in the white car in third place. Ricky Bryant at the back of the field has had enough again. That's, I think, the third off for Bryant in this race, so just not quite getting along. And we're looking at a battle for the lead here as Turka has took the position from Marku up the inside into turn number 1, just as I said. And that move has also put Buchanan straight on the back of him. So this is a 3-horse race. 2 Finns and a Canadian. Who's going to come out on top? Turka just backing up the field. This is where they're really closed up now onto this straight, and Edward Buchanan getting a double draft down this bottom of this line. Will we see a move here by Jarno Murk? Yes, we are. Jarno goes through with a slipstream on the back straight. Now that is interesting for the tactics going on to the final few laps here at Portland. Do you wait till the final part of a section, or do you risk it, pass at turn 1 and try your best to take those positions and get that space to the cars in front? Down into turn number 1, nobody goes for a move this time. A little look by Edward Buchanan in third place. I think where you'll want to be on the final lap is second here. The slipstream isn't strong enough for third place, so we'll just see how it does. But we are going on to the final lap on the next one, so it's this lap plus 1 more as they come through the twisty technical part of the section. Still very quick, those corners in there, so not much chance for overtaking. But Marku comes onto the back straight. He's got Turka behind, Buchanan behind that. No sign of anyone else. There's the 2 Norwegians a bit further back. Istad back ahead of Surly actually in that fight. And Greg Boyce is still up the backside of Erwin Paul. So that will not be decided till final lap. But it's Marku who leads from Turka. And then Edward Buchanan just biding his time. But he won't be able to bide it too much longer as Surly goes back past Ista. Those 2 can't decide who wants to be 4th today. But on to the final lap. I'm sure we'll see the white flag waved by Barney, the flagman, as across the line. And it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top of this as Turka goes for it. Down into turn number 1. Takes the racing line. Brakes a little bit deeper than his countrymen and takes the lead. Now, is that the pass for the lead? Or are we going to get it later on? Istad and Surly can't decide what's going on behind them. Still side by side, still fighting each other. Is this going to give Surly a run into the final into the turn number 3? Not at this stage, but back at the front. We look from the helicam and it is a little bit of a lead for Turka. Is it going to be enough? Can he get the best run out of here? They all seem pretty matched. For me, I think Buchanan's not going to get the run unless these 2 start fighting. And we'll have a look as they come down towards the final part of the circuit. And it's Marku going for the outside line. Is that going to be enough? Yes, it is, around the outside into the final couple of corners. Is this going to give Turka a dive in the final corner? No, it's not. So it looks like if they get the run out the corner, yes, it is. Currently, Marku who's going to take it, but the line's very far away. Here we go. Can Turka make it across the line? No, it's Marku who takes the win from Turka. Edward Buchanan in third place. And between the 2 Norwegians, it's Ista that will it? No, it's Surly who takes it. Surly who takes it on the line ahead of Ista and Nido Braun. Greg Boyce gets the better of Erwin Paul in that battle. Peter Maddox comes home in 9th ahead of Dino Villanova. And what a race that was in terms of the Finns at the front. Nobody knew who was quite going to get it. The 2 Finns fighting with the Canadian. Then we had the 2 Norwegians. Then we had 2 Germans fighting with American. So it was a very mixed race in terms of the positions, but we will just wait till everybody's crossed the line to confirm the rest of the results. But I can confirm that Jarno Marku has taken victory here tonight at Portland International Raceway. Having a look here, right, Ricky Bryant, just as he finished, or is he still going round? No, he's just coming across the line now. Ricky Bryant, a bit of a tough evening for Ricky, but coming home in 15th place ahead of Rory Hunt, who was our only retirement. So here we go, Matt. This is the race results for the opening, for the first Formula Ford race around
That was
Portland.
a really good race. I'm glad
Jarno
I
Marku
didn't
takes the
mess
victory ahead
anything
of
up
Ossie Turker.
for you guys.
Ed
You guys gotta
Buchanan was
fight
in
more.
third place ahead of Frederick Surley and Alexander Ister, rounding out your top five, just missing out by 1/100th of a second for that fourth place. Nido Braun and Greg Boyce come home in 6th and 7th ahead of Erwin Paul, Peter Maddox and Dino Villanova. Cameron Baker just misses out on a top 10, but comes home in 11th ahead of Jason Steinhurst, Jean-Christophe Guerin, Callum Coughlin, Ricky Bryant, and then our only retirement, which was Rory Graham Hunt. So a calm, not too many adventures race here at Portland, but then next week